Good evening and welcome to round 2 of Season 5 European Sprint Series, brought to you live on the Total Sim Sport YouTube channel. My name is James Parfitt and joining me today is Sean Cranleigh-Swash in the booth. After last week's epic race at the Red Bull Ring, where Jan Curbs once again showed his dominance in LLP1, taking the win by 4 seconds from Jim DeBacker, and with newcomer Luca Pep winning in LMP2 and with a one-lap advantage over Stuart Bickley. And of course, in the GTEs, we've had another newcomer to the broadcast split, Anton Venturinadev, winning by a massive 13 seconds. I'm expecting tonight's race at the famous Le Mans circuit is truly going to be stunning. So the track, the famous Le Mans, hosted a 24-hour event and at a length of a whopping 8.6 miles or 13.6 kilometers. There is plenty of room to provide us with some amazing overtakes, which is what we expect from this epic series. Now let's bring in Sean and find out what we can expect from tonight's race. Sean, welcome to the booth this evening.
Hey James, thank you. Really looking forward to this one. Hopefully we'll get more of the same as last week. Last week it was epic, and I'm sure we'll get a great show from the guys tonight. There's some really fast guys that have turned up for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one tonight, I've got to be honest. Sean, we saw Jan Curbs winning in the LMP1 last week, and with two newcomers taking the victory in the LMP2s and GTEs, the series is looking good for the season.
Yeah, week one at Red Bull Ring was always going to be a little bit quiet. We saw new winners of those two classes, but don't rule out getting new winners from each class tonight. There's some, as I said, there's some fast guys on here, but it is Christmas week for many iRacers, so I wasn't expecting a super strong field, but actually we have got one. It's Le Mans, and if anywhere can pull off a great show, it's going to be tonight.
So there you go, guys. We're at Le Mans this evening. There's unfortunately no broadcast next week. Me and the guys at TSS are going to go and enjoy our Christmas week. But then we head into January on the 6th is Daytona Road Course. 13th is the newly scanned Watkins Glen. Then on the 20th of January, we're at the famous Spa. Rounding out January, it's Road America will be on the 27th. We're into February and it's on the 3rd, it's Suzuka. The 10th, we're at the famous Silverstone circuit. The 17th, it's Imola. And on the 24th, which is the last race in February, it's going to be Monza. And finally, it's Sebring for the season finale on the 3rd of March. So Sean, with that epic schedule we had from Martin last week about his favourite track of the season being Sebring, what would your track selection be of that current schedule?
Oh, we're here tonight, without a doubt. There's something magical about this place. We're not going to see it tonight, but I love this place when it draws from day into night, and you race under the Dunlop Bridge through Tetra Rouge S's, and then try and stay flat as you can through Virage de Tetra Rouge. You're plunging into darkness, then just you, your car, and the night. 2 minutes later, you're going to come out the other side through the Porsche curves into the arena lights, and around the track you go again. There's no other place like this. It's just bliss.
Yeah, guys, I said this absolutely amazing track is going to be outstanding this evening. But don't forget, guys, we are currently got the sponsors for this evening, which is the Inside iRacing podcast. Inside iRacing podcast, the only podcast you need for all your racing news. Episode 6 is out now. With this week, hosted by Calvin and Mark, interviewing the Williams esports superstar Josh Thompson. They delve into the life of being a pro driver and find that it's actually better than we all thought. So check them out, guys. You'll find a link below in the description of the video. Now, all of our socials are also in the description as well, guys. You can follow us. TSS on Twitter is at Total Sim Sport. Myself is actually on there as well, JParvit12 as well. So you can hit us up with all of our socials. Keep up to date with when we go live. It's going to be an absolutely amazing race. Now, as you can see, we've got 1 minute 45 seconds left of qualifying. And don't forget, guys, we have got the standard lineup for the beginning of the race. So it's out by turns 22 and 23, which is just the beginning of the Porsche curbs. And that's where they'll line up for the start of the safety car race beginning there. So it's looking exciting. Now, Sean, obviously driver-wise tonight, we've got no Jan Curbs in LMP1, so that will give a great opportunity to for a newcomer to take the win this week.
Yes, exciting. Jan's probably won, 70-80% of all the races we've had. since we took over broadcast of this back in September.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be absolutely epic tonight. And then we've got the famous Alexander Spets. Now, Alexander has gone into the LMP2 this season. Was in LMP1 last season. He's in LMP2 now. Now, reports on the grapevine is he is what's known as exceptionally quick, Sean.
Well, he is a 7.8k driver, so you can't really expect anything else.
Yeah, I think, the guys behind are really going to struggle tonight to catch up with him. I think it's going to be all services resume with Alexander Spets out in front. That's me calling it now. Hopefully I've not cursed him as well. But an interesting change. Richard Simnar swapping across to the LMP2 from the GTEs. Any reports? How's he getting on? Do you know how Rich is doing in the LMP2, Sean?
I think he likes it. He was previously a GT driver, as you say, and he's been forced to the dark side by a couple of his teammates, ready for Daytona next month.
So there you go. That's that will be Richard Simnar in the LMP2. So the qualifying is done. Sean, why don't you take us through the qualifying and the starting positions?
Yeah, so P1 in LMP1, we've got Carlots and then Nelly's. Followed up by Maya, Carey, Pizzo, Lindblom in P6, Jim DeBacker, that is, P7, Oliver Fernal, Timo Stumpf, P9, and 10th place, we've got Schuler. Rounding up the LMP1s, we have got Sawiski, Lee, Santos, and Anderson. And do you know what? That's 14 LMP1 cars. And that is phenomenal. It really is. So heading into LMP2, we have Spets and Deck, the two 7K drivers, as we were mentioning earlier. And then we've got Widerka, Munoz, DeForge, Carly, Basley, Bickley, Chasnet, and Baumeister up to P24, or what's that, 10th in class. Followed by Birdle, Simner, and Hallams. Then down into GTE, we've got Haas, Poulet, Vasquez, and Sinclair as the top four, and then followed by Lee, Beats, Denyar, Charvet in the first Ford, splitting up the mountain of Porsches. What have we got? We've got Porsches 1 through 7, the Ford in P8, and then the Porsches of Newman, Wagner, and Brewer down to 11th place after that. And then following up there, we've got Kolitsky and finally Allen in P40, 13th in class.
It's going to be an absolutely epic race, guys. You do not want to miss this. You want to grab a drink, sit down with your popcorn, and enjoy some absolutely epic racing this evening. I cannot wait for this. As we say, we've got a mixture of Porsches and Audis in LMP1s. Obviously, the Dallara P217 and LMP2s. And then, as we say, we've got a Porsche lockout completely in GTEs with the one Ford Charvet and then a one Ferrari Classic, and they will be in the GTEs this evening. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys get on. Jan Baumeister in chat. Jan, you're in the race. Concentrate on the race, young sir. As we see the LMP1s heading off with Nelly's. Is going to be, obviously, Carlots is currently in P1. Not quite sure where Nelly's is going.
Oh, we've got all the Porsche curves to go through. Yeah, we've got the flyover from the aircraft, which sound great as you come through the Porsche curves as well. They're just taking their time. They'll get there all in line, and we just got to hope for a clean start through the Ford chicane.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the important thing of getting a clean start, isn't it? Especially at a circuit like this. It's, you can't go in an LMP1 and bin it at the beginning through the Dunlop and then expect the LMP2s not to try and, miss your shot. It's a bit impossible for them, unfortunately, but that's, hopefully they've left a large enough gap, which it looks like they have. They've left the whole of the Porsche curves gap, so hopefully we shouldn't have any incidents with mixed series racing on the first set of turns, guys. Well, here we go. They're going to be heading through Corvette curves very shortly and then down into the famous 31, 32, 33, 30, which is the aptly named Ford chicanes. And then after that, we are going to be racing, guys. And I cannot wait for this, Sean. Quick message before we go live. Sean, are you excited?
Oh yes, yes. I'm just really, really happy to see so many prototypes in this field. It's something we really are going to miss, and we have missed in real life racing, is these LMP ones, the R18 and the 919, and we get to enjoy it here in iRacing every single week on Total Sim Sport.
And here we go, guys. We are going now. We're across the line. Cowlots has got a massive jump on Nelly's, heading down into the Dunlop curve. Nelly's has already dropped half a second back. And as you can see through the field at the moment, we've got Oliver Furnell there riding on his own, but we've got Cowlots absolutely taken a jump. And there's quite a big gap through the field of the LMP1s already. But we can see we've got the LMP2s just starting, coming across the line now, and it's Alexander Spetz out front from Marcus Deck, 0.5 seconds, another one who's got an exceptional jump as he leads round into the Dunlop curve, guys. And then we go back. Now we're going to see the start of the GTEs. Here we go. We got Sven Haas is out in front currently from Jonathan Poulet, Aaron Vasquez light and lead, Frosty Sinclair, Denier and Chris Beats in the GTEs. But let's not forget Sven Haas in the lead as a currently nearly a 10k driver, guys. He is absolutely flying. But here we go down into the first chicane in the LMP1s, and Sean, it all seems clean so far.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of guys just take a slight off track, probably through Tete Rouge, cold tyres, eager drivers. It's always going to claim one victim.
Yeah, there you go, guys. We're heading down the first part. Well, we're on the second part of the Mulsanne Straight with the LMP1s, where LMP2s have just gone past the first chicane. But as you can see, we'll give you a quick rundown on the left-hand side. Cowlots is out in front, Pascal Nelly second, Jake Carey third, Jim DeBacker, Timo Stumpf is down there as well. Daniele Pizzo is currently in fourth place, and Marcus Lindblom's in fifth. And you can go then heading down with Lars Meyer, who's really got a bit of a gap in third. He's got a second in front and second behind. Dominic Sawicki is making a move on car number 34. That is currently Luke Santos and has got the job done there. So well done to him. And now we're going to be heading down into LMP2s. Alexander Spetz is out in front. Marcus Deck, Owen Carl, Cyril DeForge, Julian Chastanet and Tom Basley as they're going down into the last part of Mulsanne, down into the Mulsanne hairpin now. As you see, Cyril DeForge is there in car number 9. Is at the back end of Owen Carl coming in to that part of the track down into there. And then we're going to be heading down into 16, 17, 18, guys, which will be another straight for them to make a move. But there you see, we've got currently John Carlos Schuler, car number 29. Dominic Sawicki, Daniel Lee has just made the move. As they're heading down, we've got Lars Peter Anderson is at the back of the LMP1s. Sean, it's getting a little bit spicy already, and we're still only 57 minutes remaining on this hour race.
Yeah, look at that. We're not even a lap through, and we've seen so many overtakes, particularly in the LMP1s. There's probably more here than you'll ever see in real life, and it's fantastic to watch.
Yeah, this is it, guys. We have 14 LMP1s in the series this evening. And with that, an absolutely outstanding turnout for the broadcast split that we're bringing you live on Total Sim Sport YouTube channel every Thursday evening, guys. And as you can see now, we're down into LMP2. Tom Basley, Stuart Bickley, Ed Bridle. Julian Castanet is in there as well. He's at the beginning of this 4, but we've got car number 33. That currently is Julian Castanet. Is got Stuart Bickley and Tom Basley in the group there. Oh, Sean, these are looking racy coming back round the start-finish line. 4 cars in a group. It only takes one, unfortunately, to have a spin, and the rest are collected, aren't they, really? They've got to be careful this early on.
Yeah, particularly this first lap. As I said earlier, you have cold tyres for a lap, but then it's all about the draft. It's all about how you can pick up cars. The worst thing for these LMPs now is to be losing track of the car in front. It's a death sentence, really.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The draft being more important on here than pretty much most other tracks. Because as you say, once you start losing it, you're kind of dropping yourself into the people behind. And I think that could cause these guys a massive trouble. And hopefully they won't start dropping back. But once you drop back, though, you're kind of struggling to get it going forward again.
Yeah, exactly right.
So there you go, guys. We have got Julian Denea. He's currently car number 24 in the middle of the 4. He's got Lyden Lee in front, Jason Allen below, and then we've got the sole Ford of Jerome Charvet. He's currently at the back of the pack. There you go. You can see him there with Marius Brewer behind him. Jaden Munez is in the pits. I'm not quite sure what's happened to him at this moment, but we'll try and look back and see if we can catch what happened to him. Now, it looks like, guys, we've got the LMP1s, and we had a move up front. We still got Salmon Cowlots. Pascal Nellis is second. Lars Meyer behind him. Daniel Pizzo is back in the Porsche this season with Marcus Lindblom behind them. Jake Carey, Jim DeBacker, Oliver Furnell, Timo Stumpf, Luke Santos, Dominic Sawicki, Giancarlo Schuler, Daniel Lee, and rounded us out, car number 36 is Lars Petter Anderson. Now, 14 cars, Sean, is absolutely epic when we get this many cars in this series.
Oh, it's just unheard of. It's brilliant. And the great thing about Le Mans is where you normally have a massive disparity between the R18 and the Porsche 919, it's really less pronounced here. The 919 can keep up with the R18 very well here, just with the nature of the track that we've got.
Yeah, I think that was the thing we saw last season. The Audi was so dominant across the season. I think the Porsche only come out a few times for a couple of the drivers. But as you say, here's a different story, and you can see it currently in the hands of Daniel Pizzo. He is in a Porsche, guys, but we've got Marcus Lindblom climbing all over the back, and Jake Carey currently is heading through the Porsche curves down into the Corvette curves. This is going to be one exciting move. We'll see on board with Marcus Lindblom now. Jake Carey in front, Daniela Pizzo in front of that, and then we've got Jim DeBacker, who is 1.25 seconds behind us, just dropping off. Now, we talked about this earlier on. You don't want to be losing that draft if you can help it, because it really does put you at a disadvantage. It kind of drags you into the car behind. But we've got Tom Baisley now is being closed down by Stuart Bickley, and he is right out the back of Cyril Deforge as these guys heading down into Porsche curves right about now. There you go. Cyril Deforge, Tom Baisley with Stuart Bickley dropping back a little bit. He's got 0.4 of a second, but that draft should play a massive part in, and hopefully see Julian Castanet has kind of opened up a little bit of a gap. He's got 0.86 seconds where he's just cleared these four a little bit. Now, Sean, pit stop wise, what do you think we're looking at with a race circuit this long?
Well, we're going to be getting the LMP2s in first. Don't expect some of these GTE cars, though, coming in until, maybe 10, 12 minutes to go. They'll probably come in, do 3-4 laps, and that'll be their race over. It's all about longevity here, because the track, it burns so much fuel. You're looking at over 7.5 litres a lap for these GTEs. They've only got a 73 to 78, I think it is, litre fuel tank. So that's 9 laps at a push. The guys that can really get that 9th lap are the ones that are going to make it up in the pits.
Yeah, as you see there, Calais is in the front with Eric Newman behind him, Mike Wagner, Lyden Lee, Jason Allen behind there. We're in a train, 2, 4, 5 cars currently. Aaron Vasquez currently in second place. Sven Haas in the GTE. He is currently in first. As I say, Sven is currently on a best lap of 3:47.68. Aaron Vasquez did go slightly quicker though. He's done a 3:46.53, so he's 9 tenths quicker. And Denea is losing places. He's going to
have done something wrong at the Ford chicane, I reckon. He's had to slow right down there.
Yeah, that is an absolutely massive slowdown. That's put him at the back of the GTE field. But here we go. We've got Wyderka is in second. Marcus Deck and Owen Kyle is at the back of these three. So Wyderka jumped Deck there. I'm probably guessing it's down the straight. And you can see Alexander Spets out front now of this 4-pack. So we've got Spets, Wyderka, Deck, and Carroll. So these guys coming into the Mulsanne hairpin. And then we're going to be heading down that run down into Indianapolis, which is going to be another opportunity for these guys to be making their moves. And you see Pascal Nellis now has got Lars Meyer, is behind Pascal Mellis and they're coming across the round into the last chicane, through the forward chicane, down across the start-finish straight. Cowlots has got to jump. He's got a gap of about 2 seconds out front at this moment in time. We see Timo Stumpf there. Here's another one that's looking like he's on a slowdown, Sean.
Yeah, I think he may have had almost coming together with Daniel Lee in front. Yeah, they must have done because he's into the pits already.
Yeah, he's in 50 minutes remaining. That's an early one there. Pascal Nellis is trying to hold off Lars Meyer as best he can. Meyer has got a two tenths of a gap behind them. These guys are coming down part one of the Mulsanne Straight, going to be heading in to the right, left chicane. And then we go into the second part of the Mulsanne Straight. Here we go now with them. We are as you were. Pascal Nellis, Lars Meyer did not make it. Pascal just flicks a cone off the track. Doesn't obviously want it there. And away he goes for the next section of the Mulsanne Straight. So that's part two, guys. So Jim DeBacker currently got Jake Kerry in front of Luke Santos behind. Marcus Lindblom got past Jake and is currently 0.6 seconds down the road. So he's on a little bit of a flyer. See, Timo Stumpf is still in the pits, but we're on board Marcus Deck, Owen Kyle behind him. And then we've got Juliet Wyderka. That's car number 8 is in front. But we've got Spets slowly opening up the gap. And then we go on board now with Leiden Lee. That's car number 12, guys. He has got Wagner in front, Newman behind him. And he's trying to close that gap heading down into the Porsche curves. We've got a pack of 5 GTEs currently in a line. So it's absolutely amazing. With car number 12, Leiden Lee, we've got Wagner in front, and then the Ferrari, a Kaledzek, Sean. That's a gain currently of 7 places within the first, what are we on, lap number 3?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be that draft. There's a couple of guys, as we see Baumeister there, he's given up for the day.
No, that's a Jus Baumeister, unfortunately, looking like he's had enough for today's races. See Wyderka now has jumped Spets there, but he's got Spets climbing all over the back of him. Well, that's going to be within the draft of the first part of Mulsanne. We're going into part 2. We go through the chicane. And here we go now. We've got car number 9. That's Cyril Defoe. Just got Chastanet tucked right up behind the car number 33.48 seconds. But here we go. Wyderka, Spets, Deck, and Carroll heading down the first part, coming down into the Mulsanne hairpin. And we are heading into there about now. Here we go on the brakes. Round the corner. We want to get out onto the gas as much as possible. Owen Kyle. He's kind of, Sean, he reminds me of this guy just kind of sitting in the back of the pack, waiting to see what happens with the other 3 in front of him.
It's a good strategy here. I mean, all the time you're saving that little bit of extra fuel as well as you're taking the draft from the 3 cars in front. Yeah, you're not going to be pushing the car as hard. It could be a good strategy here. Follow them through for a couple of laps to the pit stop and see where that leads out. It's kind of a endurance-esque here until the pit stop, and then it's all out from there.
Yeah, as we see Spets in front of us there, has just taken Wyderka, took us at the Indianapolis, and then we're going down Arnay, and then down into 21 and 22 before we head down into Porsche curves there. Spets got the job done into the last chicane, into the last part of the chicane, into the Indianapolis section. He got it done there. But we're on board with Frosty Sinclair, Sven Haas in front, Vasquez in front of him as well, and Chris Beats behind him currently. I believe that is Vasquez is in front of us, no more than 0.4 seconds as we're heading into the third part of Mulsanne. Here we go. This is Frosty Sinclair going down the straight into the hairpin. Mulsanne hairpin on the brakes. We're looking again, trying to get down into through the gears, trying to get that run out the hairpin that we need, guys, down into 16, 17, 18 before we head down into Indianapolis and Arnage. Here we go now. Frosty Sinclair is looking racy out the back of Vasquez. Heading down the straight. He's tucked up 0.21201918. He's closing at a race of knots. There he is. There is Frosty Sinclair right up behind us. And we're heading down. We're looking at trying to get to this chicane as quickly as
Letting
possible
off.
for
He's letting
Vasquez.
off. He's happy to
He
be
let
behind
off.
for that.
You don't reckon he went for it there? Did he lift off?
He's lifting off. He's happy to sit behind. He knows that car's got the similar pace to him. If he stays behind, as I said earlier, he'll save that little bit of fuel. He might be able to go another lap more, and that's all it needs to take over this car in the pits.
Oh, there you go. Frosty Sinclair bringing out the strategy. 45 minutes remaining of this 1 hour European Sprint Series race live from Le Mans. Brought you live on the TSS YouTube channel every single Thursday night at 9 p.m, guys. With myself, Sean Cranleigh-Swash will be here as well. It's going to be an absolutely epic season. Sean, what's Lars Meyer been up to?
Oh, he's just taken second place there, going into the second chicane on the Mulsanne. So he's been up behind Nelly's for a good few laps, and he's finally made that move.
There you go. There's Lars Meyer past Nelly's into the chicane, guys. And these guys are really mixing it up, but he's not dropping back. However, we are coming into the lapping of the GTEs already. We're just coming to the end of lap 5. Nelly's trying to make through. Pascal Meyer has got the jump and he's got a gap through already. Carlos is in the pits. That's got to be contact with car number 22 there, Sean.
Yeah, it looks like that was Jason Allen at the back of the LMPs. And there you go. He's that's a difficult one there. The speed difference there is probably greater than most other places on the track. You've got the LMPs can pretty much take that corner into Corvette curves practically flat out, whereas the GTEs really have to be down in fourth and just nursing through so you don't get an off track on the outside. And I think that GT was a little bit slower than he thought.
So there you go. That's Simon Cowlot's race now, but that does leave currently Lars Meyer out in front. Pascal Nelly's in second. Daniel Pizzo is in third with Jim DeBacker in fourth. As you see in the LMP2, Spets, Deck, Widerka and Carroll still sat at the back of the 4. He's not making moves, Sean. We're on the understanding that he's going to be looking at trying to save as much fuel as possible with 43 minutes remaining.
Yeah. Don't expect these cars to come in for another 15, 20 minutes. Well, probably a bit less than that now. And they're just happy plodding along where they are.
Yeah, so Spets out in front, Deck, Widerka, Carroll behind that. We got Sven Haas in the lead of the GTEs. He's going down part 2 of the Mulsanne Straight. He's got the LMP1 going through now. That is the car number 19. Lars Meyer, Pascal Nellis has just gone past him. But let's not forget, guys, Sven Haas, 3 minutes 44.39 is his best lap. Sven is a 10K driver, Sean. We discussed this off broadcast. We were kind of expecting him to drop into the 344s this evening, weren't we?
Yeah, I'm just checking the temperature actually, because it must be a little bit cooler than I thought it would be. Yeah, look, it's under 20 degrees there. Track temperature is 21. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they're able to get under 45s with a nice cool track like this. It's cooler than it's been when I've been racing, I know that for sure.
Yeah, you and me both, mate. You and me both. And we got car number 21 now. That is the Daniel Pizzo. It's gone past Sven Haas as well. Sven's making it easy for these guys. He's staying to one side. The LMP1s and LMP2s are going to go past him. He knows that already. There's no point trying to be difficult. Frosty Sinclair, Aaron Vasquez now coming down. Frosty goes and pokes his nose out on the left-hand side, but tucks back in again. These guys are coming into turn 19. That's the first part of Indianapolis. There we go. We swing a left through Arnage on the right, and off we go again. This is going to be interesting.
James, you're a corner ahead, mate. We've just gone out of Arnage now.
There you go. Thank you very much, Sean, for that. So heading down 2021 and then into Porsche curbs. We got Jim DeBacker, who's got Jake Carey behind him. Now, Jake's lost a couple of places. He's dropped down 1 from his qualifying position, but I think at one point he was ahead of Jim. So I'm guessing that's probably another move on one of the straights, Sean.
Yeah, they're probably just swapping back and forth as they catch each other's draft.
Yeah, it looks like, though, to be fair, in the Porsche with Daniel Pizzo, he's looking pretty much quite comfortable in that third position. He's probably the only one that hasn't really swapped about. He's made a couple of places, and he just seems to be getting on with his business, as we see Cyril Deforge now in the LMP2. Car number 33, Julian Castanet in front of us. This move has not taken place. We're heading down into the Mulsanne hairpin. We're going to be hard on the brakes. We're going to flick that cone. That cone's been replaced quite a few times already throughout this race. And it's only 20 minutes. 20 minutes gone, Sean. Where has it gone already?
20 minutes? Wow. It's been non-stop, James.
It's absolutely flown by for the first part, and he's still going to be carrying on with Cyril Deforge and Julian Castanet, and we've still got the deck Spets Widerka, and sitting comfortably at this pack, not making them moves, is Owen Kyle. Now he's going to be in a great position just to be sitting there, fuel saving along while these guys are fighting backwards and forwards throughout the first part of this race. 39 minutes to go. We'll have a quick run through the standards. We'll start you off. Here goes Lydon Lee. What has Lydon Lee been up to, Sean?
Lydon Lee just gone a little bit hot. There we go, into the four curves there. It wasn't really much of his fault. The car in front of him took the first section of the Ford chicane very, very rough, and he just caught up with him. Probably didn't have a chance to slow down. It's really tough there.
Yeah, let's see here now. Live back on your screen, we'll be joined back into the LMP1 battle of Lars Meyer, Pascal Nellis. These guys have been really neck and neck all the way through. Since Simon Carlos had that little bit of an incident, as unfortunately I believe he's out of the race this evening, out of the lead. But now that's released Meyer and Nellis heading down into Indianapolis. And there you go. Absolutely amazing. So, pit stop wise, Sean, roughly what are we looking at for the LMP1s? We've got an hour's race. When are we expecting them to be in the pits?
I would expect them in probably around the same time as the LMP2s, actually, around here.
So, what we had next sort of 10, 15 minutes, do you want to think? Or are they going to be looking at getting within that half hour?
No, it'll be about halfway through.
Halfway through. So that's when we're expecting the LMP1s in. So we've got Lars Meyer in first place currently. We'll take you through the LMP1 field. We've got Pascal Nellis is in second, drop back a little bit, 0.87. In third place, Daniel Pizzo in third. He's got Jim DeBacker behind him currently, nearly a second, just under a second back from there. Then Jake Carey, who's right up behind. He's got another second gap, half a second down into Luke Santos. Luke is having a little bit of a run on his own at the moment. Then behind him, we've got Lars Peter Anderson, who also currently is driving solo across the field in seventh place. Daniel Lee is in eighth. He's nearly closing up. He's 2 seconds back from Lars Peter Anderson. And then Giancarlo Schuler is in ninth place. And then Dominic Sawicki rounds out our top 10. Unfortunately, we've lost Marcus Lindblom, Simon Carlos, Timo Stumpf, and Oliver Furnell in the LMP2. We've got Marcus Deck in first place, Alexander Spets. Owen Kyle has made that move on Widerka, and he's just on screen there, made the move on Spets coming into the hairpin. So he's not at the back of the pack anymore, Sean. He's looking at making his moves through the field with 36 minutes remaining. So we've got Widerka in fourth place. He's now at the back of the four. Down into fifth, we've got Cyril Deforge, who's got Julian Chastanet and has had Julian Chastanet tucked up behind him for the last 24 minutes. Then behind him, we've got Tom Baisley. He's got Stuart Bickley, but then again, Stuart Bickley's about 3 seconds back, riding solo this evening. And then behind him, Ed Bridle, Tom Hallams, and then the LMP2s of Richard Simnar. There he is. He's currently got 3 seconds in front, and then to Just Baumeister behind him, who's got 24 seconds. Just is kind of flying solo at the back of the LMP2 field. And there you go. I don't think Jaden Muniz is still going this evening or not. We'll have a look and see if he's still going this evening. But down into the GTEs. And we are going now on to the leader of the GTEs. We believe we still got Sven Newman currently out in front at the moment. as well. So there you go, guys. We've got to have Sven Haas, sorry. And then we got Frosty Sinclair. Wagner is in third. They've just swapped places. So Wagner and Sinclair have swapped places. Vasquez is in fourth. Chris Beats is in fifth. Eric Newman is down in sixth place. And then Sven in the lone, Soren in the lone Ferrari. He's in seventh place at the moment. Closing though, I'm not going to lie, at the back of Ed Newman, 0.25 seconds. Then we've got Jonathan Poulet is in eighth place. Marius Brewer is in ninth, and then the Soul Jerome Charvet, there you go, in the background there, is in the Ford. We've got Lyden Lee just about to make a move, and then we go Denier is currently is at the back of the GTE fields. Lyden Lee is through on Jerome Charvet, watching it in the second chicane of the Mulsanne Straight, heading down the third one down into the hairpin, Sean. So that's rounding out the field with 34 minutes remaining, Sean. Lars Meyer, Pascal Nelly's look quite comfortable. Lars Meyer's in the pits as we speak on 34 minutes. Is that a little bit earlier than we expected?
No, this is about the window now. I mean, if you think one more lap, that's 3 minutes. You're about the half-hour mark, aren't you? So that's good. That's where we expect him to come in.
Yeah, so that's Lars Meyer in the pits. You can see on the timing tower on your left-hand side, he's currently dropped down into fifth place. But don't forget, guys, all the others have got a pit. That moves the only Audi Porsche, Daniel Pizzo in second place. Spets is still leading the group of LMP2s. These guys have been together all the way through. Owen Kyle is just kind of...
Actually, sorry, James. It's Deck who's leading the group now. We've got Carl second, Spets third, and my Durka fourth. I don't expect much to move here, to be honest. It's going to be all about the pits. Yeah,
I think these guys are just swapping backwards and forwards, Sean, aren't they? You know, they've kind of rotated the four. It's kind of like it reminds me of a Tour de France where you let the leader go up front and you just kind of sit behind him. And these guys seem to be doing the same throughout this race. As we see Mike Wagner with still Frosty Sinclair behind him. Coming into Corvette curves, passing through the Porsche curves now, going into Corvette. Here we go. Sven Haas, Mike Wagner, Eric Newman, Soren Khaled, Jonathan Poulet in the Porsche is making up on the gap of car number 6. He's got 13 in front of him. Now Soren Khaled in front of him, heading down in across the start finishing line very shortly as they come into Ford curves. GTE's looking racy. Sven Haas has kind of got a little bit of a gap out front. LMP2s are looking close, and as we know, LMP1s are looking quite racy as well. We've had the Lars Meyer gone into the pits. Daniel Pizzo is currently, we've got him in second with Pascal Nelly's. There he is down the road. Got quite a little lengthy gap at the moment. Pit stop wise, Sean, on time, what are we looking at these guys are going to be losing over this pit stop period? Are we still looking at the 30-second pit lane, 15-second stop wise? Because obviously Meyer's gone in and, you know, it's sort of looking at giving us a benchmark, Sean. So what have we got on the pit stop lane time?
You're probably looking about a minute, to be honest. Because of the length of the lap and the amount of fuel you have to put in, even for a short few lap stint, you're still putting in a hell of a lot of fuel compared to, say, somewhere like last week's Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, so we've got Nelly's who's got 9.5 seconds lead. Are we saying then he's looking at going to be losing sort of that 9 plus 51, and we're looking at a minute per pit stop? It's kind of quite a massive loss here, isn't it? It really kind of makes a difference.
Yeah, it's all down to the speed of the cars, really, how fast they go around this track. They've all got a pit, so no one really loses out, but obviously every second counts when they're in the box. So getting that entrance right, which is quite tough because you've got a little Ford chicane style entrance as well, which we might see at some point in the race. They've got to negotiate that, and then they've got to drop all the way down to 60 kilometres an hour just before another little left-right. Oh, that's Balmeister there. And then they've got to obviously hit their box as well. It's not the easiest pit lane to get into.
Yeah, we see Jake Carey. We got back onto the LMP2 leaders. Marcus Deck still out in front. Owen Carl is still in second place. But here we go. Tom Baisley is now behind Julian Castanet, and he's still looking at tugging him up, which basically is kind of got Cyril Deforge a little bit of a gap in front of them. And then into the GTE fields with Jonathan Poulet, the Souls Ferrari. That's Soren, isn't it? Soren Coletta has made the move there. That's moved him up into 7th place, and Jonathan Poulet's kind of lost out there, Sean.
Yeah. Well, Poulet, in the Porsche just behind the Ferrari, he did try and go around the outside, which is very ambitious there, because the better line is kind of nicking as much of that curb as you can get away with without there being an off track. Get an off track on that corner, and you're losing, I think it's a second and a half, 2 seconds that you need to make up. So it's quite a time penalty. So around the outside is really tough.
Yeah, we've got Marius Brewer is not far behind Poulet there. You see he's literally touching him pretty much going into that chicane. We'll go back with the LMP2s. Marcus Deck, Owen Carl, Alexander Spetz and Jakob Weiderka still together in the Ford, swapping places. There you go. It's almost like Weiderka's moved over. Spetz on the left-hand side. Spetz on the left-hand side going into the first part of Indianapolis. As he looking, he's gone through now. There's Marcus Deck and Owen Carl. So Spetz has come from 3rd and taking the lead there, Sean, in that unusual kind of part of the track that we're not normally expecting to see.
Yeah, that almost looked choreographed, didn't it? The way they all split up and then came back together again in a line in different positions.
Yeah, I think that's what it's kind of that team leader Tour de France routine, isn't it? You know, where the team leader comes through the field all of a sudden because they all move out of his way. It does kind of look like that when you're looking at these 4 cars of Deck, Spetz, Kyle and Weiderka. As you see, we've got Weiderka at the back now. He's been at the front. Carol has been in 2nd and he's been at the back. So they are kind of, it does look like that swapping of the routine now. It's fine dancing on the motor racing track there, Sean, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. It's exactly why we watch it. We love the close combat, as I like to put it, between the cars on track.
Yeah, close combat indeed. And these guys have really been close. But Jake Kerry is under close combat. He's got Jim DeBacker right up behind him, 0.29 seconds. And he is currently coming through Corvette curves. And he's got him tucked up right behind him, heading down into Ford very shortly. But Jim DeBacker's looking racy, 0.3 seconds back. Now, we haven't got Neil. Oh, there you go. Jake Carey goes into the pits. So there is that first kind of Ford chicane that we were talking about, down in through the yellow. And then we've got to go through another chicane. There you go. Before these guys got to get their pit boxes. But that releases Jim DeBacker now. Daniel Pizzo is in the pits. Jake Carey's in the pits. Luke Santos is in the pits as well, the LP ones. So that releases Pascal Nelly and Jim DeBacker. Jim has kind of got to get a flying lap, hasn't he, Sean? He's got to get that qualifying lap now under his belt just to make sure he can still clear that gap, and he's got the gap under when he comes down to his pit stop.
Yeah, so his last lap around was a 3:10. We'll have to see what happens. The entrance to the pits, it looks like they're losing about 7 seconds from leaving the track to crossing the line as well. So that's to be counted in. They're not getting they're losing that extra 7 seconds as well before we even count the box time.
No, so we're not getting that straight run into the pit lane, guys, which we've seen on so many tracks. We're getting this kind of a Ford, as we said earlier, this Ford chicane-esque going into the pit lane. We have to take one chicane, then we're down onto the limit, and then we've got to take another one. See Danielle Lee here. Lars Petter Anderson is in front. Lars Petter Anderson, Sean, 11 places. Now, on my timing tower, that's a massive gain in an LMP1 field this strong.
Well, I'm just looking. Lars was at the back of the pack for the first 15 minutes, and he's very quietly worked his way up. Now, obviously, he is the second to last car not to pit. The first 4 cars, in fact, haven't yet pitted. Nelly's, DeBacker, Anderson, and Lee. So he's going to probably lose 4 places to the pit stops, but he's doing well. He's only a 2.9k driver compared to the other guys, which are over 3k. He's doing very well, I think.
Yeah, I think he's, to be fair, he's just kind of, he's almost Richard Simner-esque and just kind of plodding along doing his business without actually making that much noise. And he could be in a relatively good position come the end of this race. But as you see, we're back with the deck, the Spetz battle, but we've got Bridle now He's got Hallam's in front of him, 0.25 seconds. Bridle's in the middle of the pack. Cyril DeForge has dropped to the back of that pack, I believe, because he was in front of these guys. So we've got car number 30, Tom Hallam's, Ed Bridle, Cyril DeForge, and currently together on track. That is for sixth, 7th, and 8th position in the LMP2 field.
Yeah, now, going back to the guys at the front, James, they seem to be spreading out a little bit now.
Yeah, so there we go. They was slowly dropping off. Owen Carroll, sorry. See, Spets has jumped into the second hat, Sean. They've all jumped in. I was going to see if anybody was going to go again. And all 4 of them just peeled in together. So there you go.
It's all about box time, as I was saying. So they're all done their own calculations of how much fuel they need. They might be gambling that there could be an extra lap or not. All of this is going to figure. And also in iRacing, depending on how well you get into your box, that dictates how quick the fuel hits your car.
So there we go. That's your 4 leaders. Tom Baisley's also in the pits there. He's just tucked up behind these 4. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys do. But we're on a mission with Frosty Sinclair. He's currently got Mike Wagner in front of him, 0.343230292827, and closing rapidly as we're coming down into the first chicane of the Mulsanne Straight. Is a part 1 of the chicane. Is this going to be a move? There you go. The 4 cars are out. The 4 cars are out of the pits. We got Marcus Deck at the front, Spets behind him, while Durka has jumped Carroll. But then we've seen Carroll in this position before, Sean. It's not something that we're really worried about. The Carroll's at the back of the 4-pack, is it?
Yeah, I think what you're going to see here, there's a little bit of a gap between Durka now and Spets. I imagine that Deck and Spets are going to pull away from the other 2 cars here over the next couple of laps. You can already see it there on that picture. Don't expect the group of 4 to stay together for much longer.
Well, there you go. 23 minutes remaining. We're going to be looking at Deck and Spets pulling away from Wydurko and Carroll. But at the moment, we've got Eric Newman, who's got, I believe that's Jonathan Poulet in front, 0.32 seconds. And he's going, we're on the 3rd part of the Mulsanne now, coming down into the Mulsanne hairpin. Very shortly, but he's closing the gap. Is Eric Newman 0.18, 0.1615 all the way down? Is he going to make the move? He's flashing him to try and distract Jonathan Poulet. Coming down into the hairpin. Jonathan has absolutely none of it. He says, you can flash me all you like, sir. I'm not budging. You're not going through. And that's it. You're going to have to wait if you want to make a move there. Eric Newman on the next part with 16, 17, 18 going down into Indianapolis session. The flashing, we've had loads of conversations continuously through ESS about light flashing, looking at making a move. There we go. Newman has pulled out from Poulet. Newman's on the right-hand side of your screen. Poulet on the left, coming into Indianapolis. We've got to be on the brakes. Take the left part first, and it's still as they were with Poulet and Newman coming down into Arnage now. There you go, job done. Line astern, Poulet in front, Newman behind him. The flashing, Sean, bane of contention. Should you not? What's your outcome on all of this? Because all of us commentators got so many different opinions. Stop trying to distract. Get the move done on track. What do you think about it all?
Well, I can tell you one thing. That he was flashing his lights as they're heading into the end of the Mulsanne straight there. The last place you're going to be looking while going into that braking zone at close to 300 kilometres an hour is in your mirror. You're concentrating on that braking zone, that apex. You want to get that car around the corner. Not going to be looking behind you. I doubt that Poulet even saw it going on.
Do you like it? What do you think of it? What do you think? What's your outlook on this distraction by flashing?
There's no rule on it. There's no rule either way. People can do what they want. At the end of the day, you see it in real life racing. It's useful when you're showing your intent to overtake a backmarker or something like that. Look, we've got all the GTEs coming in now.
All of them in together, yeah.
They are all in together. You might get the last 3 in as well if you're lucky. But unless you're showing intent to do something, it's not really going to distract because the drivers aren't concentrating on the car behind. Not at this level. You don't get many wing mirror drivers. top split racing.
Yeah, no, I definitely, it's not something I pay attention to if I'm trying to head into the braking zone. I've got to be honest there. Sven Haas has got out of the pits. You see, we've got exits on the right-hand side. Wagner, Sinclair, Poulet, Beats, Newman, Leiden Lee is in the pits. Charvet's in the pits. A lone Ferrari Soren is in the pits. Jean-Luc Denayer is also in the pits as well. And it's basically absolutely manic as everybody went into the pits together. Now, top of LMP2. Are coming out into the mix of the GTEs that are just coming out of the pits. Now, we kind of may have touched on it earlier, Sean, that we said that these four are not expected to stay together. They're kind of proving us wrong because Spets and Deck aren't really getting away at the moment, are they?
Well, we're in the mix of traffic now. You've got all cars, all three classes, GTE, LMP1 and LMP2, all on the same bit of track. As you can see, half the track on the track map there has not got a single vehicle. Which is quite amazing.
Nothing on the right-hand side of Le Mans whatsoever, guys. Absolutely incredible. There you go. They're all just coming out of the pits. They've all just started the lap, and they're all just heading down the straight at the same time. So here we go. Spets, Deck, Carol, Wyderka. Top four of LMP2s have been for the last 40 minutes. And just to remind you, Sean, as well, that is our next 20 minutes over and done with. I can't believe it. Here we go. Charvet Vasquez. Going down, they're currently coming down into part one of the chicane. As Vasquez on your left, Charvet on your right. Charvet gets done. Are we looking at with the Ford though of Charvet? Is he underpowered for this track? Is this something that, you know, that the Ford loses out on with speed-wise?
The problem the Ford's got is it's having to run a very, very low wing here. You can't really compromise with the setup at all. You have to build it for the straights, and then you're suffering through the corners, particularly somewhere like the Porsche curves. So you have to add in a hell of a lot of rake to actually get the car to move around the track. So you are compromised, and it's a BOP issue. But then again, not many Ford drivers around. Is that because it's the Ford and it doesn't race? It's one of the first ones not to race, or is it because it's the BOP?
Yeah, I think, you know, we're obviously aware Charvet literally run the Porsche, the Ford, sorry, for the whole of last season. I don't think that we saw Charvet in anything else. You know, we both obviously know our colleague Austin William Campbell. He obviously drives the Ford and is a Ford lover completely. But are we saying then that the BOP really does affect the Ford in a way that it doesn't affect the other cars in that series?
Yes, yeah, it has done. It's definitely not as useful around the track as others, which is why it's not raced as much, I reckon. But it does have its good tracks. It still has the odd track where it is brilliant, and the few Ford drivers you've got out there are very, very quick in it.
Yeah, you know, we know Charvet's been quick in it. We saw it for the whole of the last season. You see there, we've got the LMP2s of Stuart Bickley trying to come through these guys currently at the moment. So there is Stuart Bickley on the left-hand side of your screen. He's trying to go past Vasquez. He's trying to go past Charvet, and he's going to be trying to get past Leiden Lee. I believe that is Leiden Lee in front there as well. Yeah, that's car number 12. Yeah, Leiden Lee. So Bickley has cleared the free. Now we're under 17 minutes remaining. Straight sprint to the finish now, Sean. Pretty much everybody has pitted. We're going to be going for it, aren't we? This is it.
Yeah.
Pedal to the floor.
This is it. Yep, it's going to be the sprint now to the end.
Oh, Sean, sorry, we've got Vasquez spinning off. So he did a dance all on his own, heading down into the he's in, I believe he's coming into the Ford curves there, Sean. Take us through what happened to Vasquez.
Oh, I think you can see it there. He's into that corner there. The coming into the Corvette curves. You have to take as much width out on that exit there, so you can get into the next left-hander as fast as possible. He's nudged the grass a little bit. It doesn't take a lot. That was half a tyre, if that, and it's taking him off the track. Yeah,
so there you go. Unfortunately for Vasquez, he is currently now near enough down to the bottom. He's got Jean-Luc Denayer and Just. I believe Jus Baumis is actually out, so Jean-Luc Denayer is the last one of the GTEs, and he's now coming up near enough at the back of the field. So poor old Vasquez has not done well out of that. Unfortunately, that's put him back, but there you go. That's the dangers that we've touched on within Le Mans. Is so easily done. And it's something that we're probably all done at some point around this circuit, Sean. I know I've probably spun a few times. I'm probably guessing you may have done as well.
Do you know, I've been spinning in my races this week. It's not been. Oh, I was saying that I got a podium last time I raced, but it's not been the easiest track to get around for me this week, which is a shame, really, because I really love it. I've just been too eager, I would say.
Yeah, too early on the throttle, and you've spun it. But as you say, it's not been a bad week for yourself within the iRacing series this week. But we've got Marcus Deck, Alexander Spetz, Owen Kyle, and funny enough, we've got Jakob Weiderker. The 4 cars have been together. There is a little bit of a gap, I'm not going to lie, between Spetz and Carroll. It's about 1.4 seconds. But then again, we have come into traffic, Sean. Are we expecting that gap close? 15 minutes remaining. Is it going to be a 4-way before the end? What's your prediction?
No, there's going to be 2 groups of 2 now, all the way to the end, as I thought. The guys out in front, Deck and Spetz, are just that little bit faster than Carroll and Weiderker, I think, today. Actually, looking at Weiderker's car, he's got a little bit of damage on the rear as well, which won't help him out.
Yeah, they have kind of, the Spetz has kind of opened up that 1.53 gap. See, Chris Beats has got Marius Brewer in front of him. And as we see, we've got car number 33. That's Chastanet coming through the field as well. Not, overly pleased that the cut off straight in his face. But there you go. Chris Beats, Marius Brewer are coming down into Indianapolis. I believe we've got Newman and Poulet. Now, just before the pits, we saw, I believe, Newman and Poulet swap positions. Are we saying Poulet's got back out again, Sean, in front of him after the pit stop?
Yeah, that's exactly what
I think that's exactly it, isn't it? I think Poulet has managed to jump Newman.
Yeah, Poulet's pit time looks to be about half a second quicker than Newman's. So hopefully he hasn't compromised on fuel, but he's definitely made up the place.
Yeah, City LMP2 flashing the GTE driver, trying to get him through. That is car number 20. That's Ed Bridle. Is flashing all to try and get the GTE's attention to let him know that he's going to make his move. Pascal Nelly as well is absolutely flying. Lars Meyer currently, I've got him about 9.6 seconds behind him, but we have got 3 LMP. We've got Jake Carey, DeBacco, and Pizzo are looking like coming down Mulsanne part number, just gone into the chicane. If we're going to have a look at them guys are really close together. There you go. There is the battle of Carey, DeBacco, and Pizzo. Now, Carey slipped to the back of these 2 and now is back in front again. He's another one with a shorter pit stop time. As again, hopefully.
It looks like Poulet's come off track.
Oh.
Let's take a look.
Let's have a run through then, Sean. What has he been up to?
He's got out of the way of the LMP. The LMP's overshot. He's overshot. They're into the Fords. And, I think that's the case. Poulet probably not giving the LMP car the gap it deserved there.
No, unfortunately for Poulet as well. That's jeopardised him. He's dropped down the field now. As well, he's into 7th position. So poor old Poulet there. Not giving the gap as needed.
It's a move.
As you can see, we've got Deck and Spetz swapping places again in the LMP2s, coming down into the second chicane of the Mulsanne. There you go, that's part number 2, and that is Deck in front of Spetz. Carl is in front of Weiderker. These guys have been all close together all the way through, but Deck has got 0.35 seconds. Spetz has got 1.65, so it's come down from the 1.8 that it was a few corners ago. And Carroll's is got Weiderker climbing all over the back of him at the moment. We've got Deck and Spetz beginning in the LMP, the leaders of the LMP2 field. There you go, round the Mulsanne hairpin and down the next straightaway. And I just feel, Sean, that this could be the rotation for about the next 11 minutes. You're going to see it in the back there. Weiderker and Carroll are going to be swapping shortly as well. Are we going to be looking at, do you think that the strategy will be try and stay as close, swap the odd position, last lap, there you go, Spetz looking at making a move around the outside, Spetz on your left, Deck on your right, job done. Does last lap strategy, it pays, it comes in more here at Le Mans than it does pretty much most other circuits, doesn't it, with these long straightaways?
Yeah, with the draft, you can get away with playing some quite interesting mind games with the guy in front. You can spend a lot of time behind, watching how he's racing, watching where he's slower than you, watching where he's faster than you, deciding on what point to make. You don't have to make that move until the last lap. There's nothing. It's not really good to get in too early and pass too early, because you give the opponent that time to overtake you again.
So on the track map on the right hand side, Sean, you're in the lead of the LMP ones as we see Brewer. Believe this is Brewer Newman beats battle.
Are they?
And they're pretty much. I think there's a little bit of a bump draft going on coming into Indianapolis at the moment. We've got Brewer, Marius Brewer in the middle there. That's car number 11. Eric Newman, car number 10, is in front. And Chris Beats behind. They were very close. Coming through on age, down into the 21-22, the little straightaway before we come into the Porsche curves. Brewer in the middle of a Newman beat sandwich, heading down into Porsche curves, and this is what we're talking about with the GTEs coming into Porsche. He's not gonna. Brewer is taking it, going into the Porsche curves. Brewer has jumped Newman going into the first part of the Porsche curves. Not a normal overtaking position. He went for it, got the job done, and he's looking at trying to now open a gap. 9.5. We've got 9.5 minutes, just under 10 minutes remaining. But again, Sean, what would you do if I stuck you in an LMP1, put you at the front of this field, said, Sean, you're on the last lap, 7K drivers behind you? What would your strategy be? Would you save it until the last quarter of the lap, or would you go for it within the first two parts of Mulsanne?
If I was in the lead, you're a sitting duck. To be completely honest, it's all about how you both manage your boost between you, who takes the advantage of it. But what I would say is, if I was the 7K driver behind, or whoever what you were behind, the ball's really in your court. You're going to be able to see exactly what's going on with that car in front. You'd have followed them for a few laps already. You'll pretty much know where you want to overtake, and you'll set them up in front to allow you to do that as best you can.
Now this circuit, basically, I've got this very reminds me of Nords in a general way. If you're coming on the last lap, we always see Hallams here, and we've got car number 20, Bridle, behind them coming across the first part of the Mulsanne. Nords is very much a mind game track coming into the last lap, isn't it? Because you've got that long back straight. Le Mans reminds me of the same. We've got Hallams goes in very deep there into the first part. He's going into part number 2. We've got Hallams on your left, Bridle on your right. Now we're going to be heading down into part number 2. Would you lift off, Sean, last lap coming along the third part of the Mulsanne? Would you lift off and let them through to try and take them on the hairpin and that next run down? Or would you lift off on the second to try and get it back? What would you do? Because I know this is all very trickery, isn't it? 8 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I mean, the run down to Indianapolis isn't that long. If you can maximise your exit over what they can do out of the hairpin at the end of the Mulsanne, you might get away with it, but you really are relying on having to slow that opponent car down.
Yeah, I suppose that's where it comes in, as we see here, Hallams and Bridle trying to make the move going into that exact hairpin that we were talking about. It reminds me of Alonso and Hamilton, where Alonso was trying to hold up Hamilton for Ocon's got the win, Sean, and very slowed him down rapidly at some of the hairpins. Is that kind of the mind games trickery that you would be looking at playing going into the Mulsanne hairpin?
You've got to be careful. You slow yourself down too much and you're going to cause yourself to be slower than the guy behind, because if they anticipate it, they'll take their time coming into that corner. They'll get a better exit than you, even if you have tried to force them slow. So it's all about the psychology of the laps leading into that final move. Yeah,
as you see Deck there, I'm going to call it now. Deck let Spets through. He went to the right hand side of the track and just went, take it. I'm gonna sit behind you now. Carroll was kind of dropped Widerka a little bit. Is 1.7 seconds back from these guys. If we through the LMP2 field, Spets, Deck, Carroll, Widerka, Baisley, DeForge, and Bickley rounds out your top 7. But that was definitely a let pass, wasn't it? Deck's already sort of gotten into that mind games that we were talking about. 6 minutes 37 seconds going. Doesn't really want to be in the lead. This kind of this part of the race. Letting Spets kind of take it, Sean, when you say, like, there you go, son, off you go. Like, I can keep up with you, so I can afford to let you go.
Yeah, you've nailed that one. That's exactly what he would have thought there. Let's let him go in front. it could be that he wants to save a bit of fuel. You've got that thing as well, because if they haven't filled up enough, they may have to let that car ahead in front so they can fuel save a bit more, and they can keep in touch with that car and make sure there's enough fuel for that final 1 lap run.
Yeah, I think we're looking at pretty much even comparison times between Spets and Deck. We saw them there when they come out of the pit box, didn't we? They were literally neck and neck. They went in together, they come out together. The only difference is they kind of dropped Carroll and Wydurka a little bit coming out of the pits, but these guys have been all the way through. Saying that, Deck is now making a move on Spets, coming into the second part, the Mulsanne chicane. Job done. Deck's... I'm going to be interested.
Easy, James.
Yeah, it just looks so simple for these guys on that straightaway. That draft is so strong, Sean. It plays a massive part in this race.
Let me take you back half an hour. These guys were, as you like to say, line astern, all four of them. they did not let up. They didn't give those positions over easily. But now at the end, you can see they're doing it. They are preparing each other for that last lap already.
Yeah, I think... we're going to be looking at where is the LMP1s. We've got at least, I'd probably suggest this one, and then maybe a white flag on the next one round. I believe Pascal Nelly's 3 minutes 9. Yeah, he's going to get one more lap, but it's going to be a white flag after that. Deck and Spets, I want to see how it pans out. I am interested also to look the fact that Carroll has closed up a little bit, not enough to be there. But we've got Jim DeBacco, Daniel Pizzo, Jake Carey's kind of cleared off down the road a little bit. He's opened up a 2.8 second gap. Back to Pizzo now. So Carey, after dropping down the field, has recovered back into third on the pit stops. Pizzo in fourth, DeBacco fifth, Santos sixth. Now, Lars Petter Anderson was at the back of the 14. He's now in seventh, Sean. He's made up 7 positions. So he did eventually pay off to what we said at the beginning, didn't he? He's made up them 7 positions to go after the start.
Well, we have lost 5 LMP1 cars, unfortunately. The drivers of Sawicki, Lindblom, Carlotz, Stumpf and Fernell. But he was back of the pack. He's now in front of 2 running cars. He's just ahead of Daniel Lee, really only a couple of seconds by the looks of it. 25 seconds. So he's done well. He's beaten the drivers of a high I rating on track, which is all you can ask for, really.
Yeah, he's just gone about his business, absolutely just carried on. And there's another man that's gone. We haven't seen much of Sven Haas. He is a leader of the GTEs by 18 seconds. Last lap, still doing 3:45.07, so nearly on that 44. Best lap, 3:43.82. He is just under a second quicker than Mike Wagner, and he's a further over a second quicker than Frosty Sinclair on their best laps. 10K driver, Sean, absolutely class of the field this evening.
Yeah. What can you say? He's done everything right. He's 18 seconds ahead now. No one's gonna get near him. There's not going to be much traffic for him either. He can just cruise to the end, really.
Yeah, he's just going to be going about his business. Sven Haas, unless he makes any crazy, silly mistakes, that will cost him. But this is the Brewer Newman Beats battle now. As we see the LMP1 not being as patient there, Sean, is he?
Oh, no, he didn't really need to be patient there. There was room for that LMP1 to go through. It's just he got very close to that leading Porsche of this pack.
Yeah, he got very close to Brewer there, was out in front. Newman now is in the middle and Beats. We got 2 minutes. I believe this is the last lap of the race. We are going to be with Pascal Nelly's. The last lap of the race. He's gone through Dunlop Curve, Dunlop Chicane. We're heading into the S's. But here's the battle with DeBacco. Pizzo's closed. DeBacco's closed right up to the back of Pizzo now. As they go...
There's no white flag, James. Just to let you know, there is no white flag. So we do have one more after this lap.
One more after this. It's not going to make... Am I got it wrong? I thought that was it. Pascal Nelly's not going to make it round for one more lap, though. It's a timer. Maybe there you go. We're going to have one more and then the white flag after that. There you go. Leiden Lee, Jonathan Poulet, Poulet's made a little bit. He's dropped back from Beats now. He's 7 seconds behind Beats at the moment. Lyden Lee is 0.3 seconds. You see it on screen. He is there, tucked up right behind him now. Sean, coming in now, 1 minute left of this one. Then we're going on to the last lap. Mind games are going to come into effect. What are you looking out for if you're the lead driver now? Because you see it here, Marius Brewer, Eric Newman. What are you looking out for? Are you looking out to let him pass, or are you looking out to defend the line?
Well, remember, you can't be too aggressive in your defence here in iRacing. You can't weave around the track like we see some drivers doing. You have to hold that line. Choose that line, particularly when you've got an aggressive driver behind you. And if he is faster than you, if he does get past, you've got a couple of straights to go. Get him behind, get a better exit out, look at the following corner and see if you can do what he's just done to you. Back to him.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Brewer looks like he's slowing down here. He looks like he's just kind of let Newman through and said, there you go, mate. Off you go. This is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th in class. Chris Beats is tucked up behind him. Is this Brewer going to be looking at making this move back again in the third part? These are kind of edging up and edging up. This is kind of a look, Beats is now looking at taking the lead. I'm guessing Brewer and Newman, Sean, are kind of off the gas a little bit because they kind of looked like they were very close together and nobody really wanted that kind of 4th place, did they? Are we going to see this all the way through the field? Cars just pulling over randomly and letting the others through?
It's almost a no after you, but it looks like there's some weaving going on now. So who's that? Is that
Brewer?
Newman in front?
Isn't it? Yeah.
He's probably thinking he should be defending this now.
Yeah, we've got Beats there making a move on the left-hand side of his screen as we come down into Indianapolis. Beats looks like he's got the job done on Newman. That's put Newman behind Beats and then Brewer. Now, is this Pascal Nelly's? Is this the white flag this time around?
Timer has run down, so there we go.
Yeah, so this has got to be done now, isn't it? This has got to be finished. Yeah, Pascal Nelly's LMP1 winner this evening. Time has finished. There you go. Pascal Nelly's is your winner for the LMP1 field. If we could jump to the LMP2, Sven Haas is going to come through and take the GTE lead. But I believe we've got the LMP2s really close together on the back side of the circuit. They're in the Mulsanne Straight Part 2. Here we go. Deck and Spets.
Just while we're watching this, James, Chris Beats has come off track. It is only off track for a second, but if we look back at the timings, you can see that he has dropped now a little bit behind Newman and Brewer. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going because they're about to finish. Yeah,
so here we go. Look, this is the Beats is at the back. He's at the back. Newman's in the front. Brewer's tucked in the middle, and Beats is at the back. So that off track cost him the front group, and these three, that's the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Flashed him out of appreciation. That was excellent racing by these three. But here we go. Spets. Deck.
Ooh, who's ahead? Who's ahead?
We've got Deck in front at the moment. Spets tucked in behind him. They're coming down into Indianapolis. Spets pull down the left-hand side of your screen. Deck is on the right, coming into Indianapolis. Are they side by side? They're going to take this too wide, guys. Down into Indianapolis. There we go. Oh, it's still Deck. Still Deck. We've still got Deck out in front. Spets behind him. Coming into Arnaise. This is Deck's. He's got to be Spets' chance. Is he going to make this run, Sean? Literally barely a quarter of the lap remaining. LMP2 field. Deck is in front. Spets is in second. Are we going to be looking at finishing this way? We're coming in to Porsche right about now. There you go. Oh, is Spets going to be settling in now? Is he going to be settling for this second place? Sean, would you jeopardise yourself last lap, quarter of a lap remaining?
No, that's it, I think. That's it. Once you're through there is nothing else you can do.
Yeah, so there you go. That is the LMP2 field. Deck has come out. Marcus Deck. Here we're going to see a late lunge from Spets. We're not. So there you go. The LMP2 field is done. Marcus Deck. Alexander Spets, boys, you put on a performance. Take a bow. Absolutely incredible. Marcus Deck coming out on top there. Spets in second. Carroll in third. Wydarka in fourth. Tom Baisley, Cyril DeForge, 5th and 6th respectively. And let's not forget, There you go. Stuart Bickley still going round in 7th. He's coming down into the Ford chicane now. Chastanet has finished down in 8th place. Julian Chastanet. There you go. There's Bickley across the line. And there is Chastanet crossing the line now. Hallam's coming across as well. It'd be interesting to see. We've got Richard. We haven't really picked up much about Richard Simnar. Ed Bridle and then Richard Simnar coming in together, second apart. There you go. These guys are coming through the 4 chicanes. We've taken the left. We've gone the right. We've gone the left. Simnar looked like he went in quite deep there. And there you go. Simnar brings up the field. Oh man, the race truly sucked. My wheel died on me twice and I had to reboot it. Oh, Joost Bouwmeester. What a shame for you, sir, unfortunately. But that was an absolutely epic race. Let's run you through the standings of the LMP1. Pascal Nellis takes the win. Lars Meyer second. Jake Carey third. Daniel Pizzo fourth. Jim DeBacker fifth. Luke Santos 6th, Lars Petter Anderson up an amazing 7 places, has taken 7th place respectively. Daniel Lee is 8th place. Giancarlo Schula is in 9th. Dominic Sawicki 10th. Simon Cowlock's 11th. Lindblom, Stumpf and Fernell 12th, 13th, 14th respectively. They did not finish this evening's race. Now in LMP2, Marcus Deck come out on top from Alexander Spetz with an absolutely epic battle. Owen Kyle hung on to 3rd from Jacob Wyderka there, so he was in 4th. Tom Baisley in 5th. Cyril DeForge in 6th. Stuart Bickley 7th. Julian Chastanet in 8th. Tom Hallam's 9th. Ed Bridle 10th. Richard Simnar is in 11th. And then we, of course, we've got Joost Bouwmeester in 12th. Jada Muniz 13th. Did unfortunately not finish the race. So down into the GTE. Sven Haas in first, winning by 21 seconds. Mike Wagner in second. Frosty Sinclair, they guys had a little bit of a battle all the way through the race. Did absolutely amazing. Eric Newman, Marius Brewer, Chris Beats finishing close together, 5th, 6th and 7th respectively. 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. Chris Beats going off track on the last lap. Unfortunately lost the first from 4th place there. Lyden Lee in 7th. Jonathan Poulet 8th. Jerome Charvet 9th. Soren is in 10th. Jean-Luc Denea in 11th. Aaron Vasquez 12th. And Jason Allen. So that rounds out tonight's absolutely epic racing. Bickley, I'm warm. I bet you are, son. I bet you are. So there you go. You Bouwmeester had a 1x throughout the race. Absolutely amazing. Phil Diaz, awesome to watch, guys. Much appreciated to you. 0x for Stuart Bickley this evening. Absolutely incredible. Great commentary too, Sean and James. Absolutely much appreciated. And then Bickley Motorsports, even with a gentle wall brush in the Porsche curves. Oops. Well, you got away with a 0x there, sir. That's absolutely incredible. So well done to you. So coming up, well, that's it for tonight's race. Absolutely incredible race here at Le Mans. Sean, final word from you about the racing.
Do you know what? It was everything I thought it would be. Absolutely fantastic. From the green light to the checkered flag, it didn't stop. Do you know that hour? I don't know where it's gone.
No, absolutely gone, guys. The hour flew by before we knew it. Me and Sean were talking about the first 20 minutes, then the 40 minutes, and now we're done with the end of the hour. So, guys, that's it from us at TSS. Simna's just jumped in chat. 1x. Damn it. I didn't beat him even with that. Never mind. No, you didn't beat him on track, Richard Simnar, and unfortunately, you didn't beat him with your X count either. So there you go. Mr. Bickley got the job done there over you this evening. So that's it from us, guys. So what have TSS got for you this week? Well, on Tuesday, the 28th of December, is the return of the Jeans Bowl F3 League live from Road America. And that'll be on the TSS YouTube channel at 9 p.m. Now, next week, me and Sean are going on holiday. We have got no ESS broadcast next Thursday. We are familyed up. Going to enjoy our Christmas time with our family. So hope you all do the same as well, guys. So have a wonderful thing. That's it, folks, for this evening. And all there's left for me to say from me and Sean, take care, be safe, and we might see you on the track sometime.